Hey guys, Nate here with the Volunteer Tech Vlog on the Live Sound 101 YouTube channel, and this is a media report for October 11th, 2015. Okay, so let's get right to it. We've got a lot of things to cover here. So, note to self. I need to remember to update the SAC default mix file. SAC stands for Software Audio Console. So I need to go into Mixer, Solo Mode, Solo Bus, and change that Solo Bus to either be pre-fader or post-fader. I know it needs to be one or the two, because the default is now Solo in place, which is a disruptive solo. So it's great for like a recording studio situation, possibly, where you, well, there's a number of applications where you'd want that, but basically you really, I prefer to use the reason for this is so that you can use the solo while you're live to kind of isolate one channel and hear that channel without affecting the main mix. So your headphones are fed by a different mix than the main outs. So you can basically hear something by using the solo button without disrupting what's going on in the sanctuary. And up until now, for the last couple of years, we haven't had that functionality, believe it or not, just because I haven't gone into SAC and figured out how to do it. And decided to read the manual this week. And hey, it's not that hard. You just go to Mixer, Solo Mode, and then there's a whole bunch of selections and you can choose the device. So, mental note to myself. And while we're on the topic of updating that mix file, I also need to schedule some time to update, get channels 17 through 24 back online. We've got the analog to digital converters in place now. The Behringer ADA 8200 is installed. It's powered up. Just need to get those channels updated in the default mix file to bring them back to life. So 2 updates I need to remember to do. Let's see, the next thing I have was intermittent crackling, buzzing, humming, we believe from Eric's bass amp. When we muted that channel, the buzz went away. Something's going on there, either with the output, the preamp there. We're getting a balanced XLR that's coming directly out of the back of his amplifier that's going into the house system. So it could be something with something there in that preamp. The tie lines are good. We've tested all the tie lines back in June. There shouldn't be any problems with the physical lines running around the building. There shouldn't be any problems with that channel in Software Audio Console, or that specific channel in terms of our A to D and D to A converters. So it's either something in the bass electronics is causing noise. The curious thing is he's not noticing any of this noise in his coming out of his local speaker. So he's got the bass amp up there, and he didn't hear anything there locally. But the drummer heard crackling, and I'm feeding the drummer some of the bass feed that's coming from his amplifier. The drummer heard some crackling, and we heard a lot of crackling in Fellowship Hall in the overflow, and I had the bass up over there. So interesting that so the bass player didn't actually hear anything coming out of his amp, but there were 2 places that reportedly heard this crackling. And of course, this didn't happen during rehearsal. It happened during the service, and I was unaware of it. I had reports that we heard this crackling. I had to do some troubleshooting live during the service to try to figure out where it was coming from and get rid of it. And so what I ended up doing, since I didn't know what the breadth of the problem was, or how wide-reaching it was, I ended up just muting the bass in the overflow and on the recording for like the second half of the service, because you know, I'd rather have just the bass bleeding through the rest of the microphones and kind of be weak on the bass than have the bass coming through nice and clear with crackling and buzzing and humming. So I wanted to avoid capturing that in the recordings. So that was my that's how I responded to that situation. Good news with the volunteers. So Lauren M. and Wesley. Lauren M. is continuing the training program as a video tech. So this is her like 3rd or 4th time observing, or what we're calling, she's doing the tech shadowing. So she's shadowing, just observing what goes on with ProPresenter. So great job, Lauren. And Wesley also, he's I think this is his 3rd round doing the shadowing for the video tech position. So awesome to have some new recruits up there, kind of learning the ropes, getting a feel for what happens up in the media loft. So that I'm greatly encouraged by that. So that's really cool. Random small wireless dropouts. So we need to revisit the Spectrum. Way back when we got the Shure ULXD systems, Rich took a look at the Spectrum and kind of saw what was happening and, you know, tuned the channels accordingly. So, but that was years ago. That was, man, probably 4 or 5 years ago. So we probably need to reassess and optimize our wireless, because we're getting dropouts, and it's becoming more consistent where we're getting like maybe 5 or 6 dropouts every week, and they're little dropouts, a syllable here, a syllable there, something, and it's a fresh battery. It's not the battery. I guess it could potentially be a loose cable, a damaged cable, but need to look into that more to optimize our wireless there, because that's one of the most important things you record on a Sunday is the pastor's voice with the countryman over the ear. So got to look into that, put that down in the media report. Let's see, noisy chairs in the media loft. This is something. There's a couple chairs that are like really noisy when you go to sit down on them. They make this big like sound, and of course that only happens when, you know, you're in the middle of like a prayer and the whole room is silent, and then the media guy is like having to get up to do something. So in the grand scheme of things, it's not like a huge like concern, but it is kind of on my radar. Like maybe we should upgrade our chairs or repair our chairs or get something that's ergonomic as well as silent. And it only happens to like one chair. There's like one chair that maybe just needs a little bit of grease or oil or something like that. So anyway, it's low on the list, but something that needs to be addressed or should be addressed. Mental note to myself. Well, I guess it's not a mental note if I'm saying it out loud. It's a video note because it's in a vlog. But I want to research power sequencers with maybe IP control or some sort of smart UPS or power distribution, because we've got this on-off sequence that I've noticed is kind of like the golden standard to shut down a system and to turn the system off and to turn the system on properly to make sure it, you know, continues to function. You can do things out of order that cause bad things to happen, and if we can avoid doing that, that would be great. But training all the volunteers to go through a very specific sequence is, you know, somebody might forget someday and just do things differently. So it would be awesome if there was just a system on, system off button, and there was all kinds of power sequencing going on in the background over the network or Cat5, because we've got plenty of Cat5 running around the building now. That would be ideal to make things as simple as possible for the volunteers. So it's just like system on, system off, and all these sequencing commands and macros happen in the background. So just a note to look at that. Need dedicated physical line level signal for the drummer's monitor mix. So we've been using an in-ear monitor, which is functioning on the 600 megahertz band from, I think it's from AnySpot. Or, yeah, Galaxy Audio. It's a Galaxy Audio AnySpot. And basically, there's no reason for the drummer to have a wireless in-ear system because he's fixed. He's stationary. We can just run a line level signal to his the little Mackie hotspot monitor there, and that would be definitely a better solution. So just another note. That's the to-do list. That and the Nursery has now hijacked our in-ear, our one channel of in-ears. So it's kind of dicey sending the Nursery the same mix that the drummer's getting, or the drummer getting the same mix that the Nursery's getting, and trying to compromise there. But really, they should be independent things. And then the last thing is a note. Oh, note for Josh. Josh, if you're watching this, we need to export the 4 black background and 4 white background templates from Pro Presenter 5 and share those on the Google Drive so that our volunteers can access those templates to properly format the text. And that will conclude this this media report. My name is Nate. This is the Volunteer Tech Vlog. Thank you for watching. I'd love to hear from you. Let me know your thoughts. And if not, I'll see you in the next video.